A is for ACS.
Obviously.
B is for beautiful because we're not exotic. We're beautiful.
C is for cultural appreciation.
D is for disappointing your parents.
E is for emigrate.
F is for family and food.
G is for Gayo!
H is for happiest.
I is for intersectionality.
J is for justice, for all Asian Americans suffering from racial violence.
K is for kung fu tea appreciation.
L is for loving the LGBTQ plus AAPI community.
M is for...
N is for no shoes in the house.
O is for overcoming my Blackpink obsession.
P is for playing piano.
Q is for quitting piano.
R is for resilience.
S is for Shang-Chi being the highest grossing movie during the pandemic. And also, Simu Liu being fine as hell.
T is for twins of ACS.
U is for understanding everyone's unique story.
V is for Vice President of ACS 2020.
W is for whitewashing of Asians in the media. Cast Asians in Asian roles. X is for xenophobia that we're rising above.
I is for the yellow peril myth that we're dispelling with love.
Z is for zodiac signs.
Happy Year of the Tiger.
Hello, and welcome to the 2022 ACS Show.
My name is Eva.
My name is Gaang,
And we're your ACS presidents this year. It's been over 2 years since we've been able to see everyone gathered here for our show, and we're so glad to be back.
But we also want to acknowledge that these past 2 years have been difficult for all of us. They've been marred by a dramatic increase in hate crimes against Asian Americans that has made so many of us feel like we don't belong.
So today's show celebrates the fact that we do. It displays how the strength and beauty of our cultures shine through hate and violence.
And with that in mind, the theme for today's show is resilience. We're proud to represent and spread the vibrant joy of people from over 50 countries that cover tens of millions of square miles of territory.
As we recover from the pandemic, we aren't just looking to get back to normal. We're moving forward, coming out of this year with more unity and more love than before.
Enjoy our last show.
I didn't know I was Asian until everyone I knew told me so. And I didn't know that I was fighting the seas until I already became a veteran sailor, still holding on barely to memories of solid land. It didn't take long for race to catch up to my consciousness. The words which felt so jarring to me, white, black, yellow, brown, I wanted to strip the color away from my vision, but I couldn't ignore the way that people like to crack jokes which I didn't really get and make strange assumptions about me. I began to feel inherently different somehow, and I started to see others as inherently different too. A little boy once stood on the stage, shakily reading a speech scribbled on loose leaf to an audience of uncaring elementary school students. He wants to be on the student council. He's Jason. A teenager stands on this stage, declaring to a crowd of indifferent high school students his identity as a Chinese American. He wants to prove that he's no longer a little boy, that he's a little taller, a little wiser, a little more sure of himself, and his ability to leave an impression on you all. But to you, he's just another Asian, talking about Asian things. You don't really get it, and you forget that he's Asian, that he's Jason. Listen to me. This is not a story about having straight black hair and a relatively flat and rounded face. This is a cry for help. The shouts of a confused kid to a world which sticks labels on him and turns the other way. A sailor navigating the ocean of his greater belonging, discovering what it means to be Asian while struggling to keep his ship afloat, else he become just another Asian. Do you know me? Please, be my audience. Tell me that I'm not wrong to be alone in this. Well, you're just gonna forget, then I'd like y'all to at least remember this. There may never be land in sight, but that's okay, because what it means to be Asian, what it means to be me, that's what it means to be. It means to be lost at sea, and to be okay with being lost. Yet fight all the harder in remembrance of the first sailors. My grandma, a teenager who sailed from Malaysia to China. My parents, who then came from China to America. My brother, who returned to his childhood home of Chicago. Now it's my turn.
I think Asian parents compare their kids to everybody else's kids just a little too often. From your cousin that goes to Harvard and speaks 7 different languages, to that one kid in your prep class who can already do quantum physics, no matter how high your grades are or how good you are at any extracurricular, there's always another Asian kid doing it better. Conversely, there are those Asian kids that your parents would tell you to stay away from, and I'm who your parents might call a bad Asian. Despite my parents' best efforts to mold me into the perfect kid to brag about, I am still your parents' worst nightmare. My worst grades are in math and AP Mandarin of all subjects. It's a shame given they spent my Saturdays from 9:30 to 12:30 in Chinese classes and my Sundays from 1:30 to 3:30 in advanced math classes. Countless hours spent, or should I say wasted, on thick packets of theoretical math while I can barely wrap my head around pre-calc and paperback books filled with characters that still feel foreign to me. I throw myself into sports. I know I'm not going D1 anytime soon, but every day, like clockwork, I go to practice after 8th period. My dad gives me this look when he picks me up afterwards, and my mom tells me to just give up on sports because not even the medals or the memories are worth the time that could otherwise be spent trying to bump my GPA up by half a point. I am a lot. I laugh too loudly, I swear too much, I dance in classrooms and strut down hallways in 5-inch tall heels. And I know my aunt sneers at me when I wear these heels because she'd much rather me dress like a good girl. But no, I want to see people uncomfortable with who I am. I ask the questions that people don't want to hear. I complain about things that don't make me happy, and I do not run from my vulnerability. My mother always said, what happens in the home stays in the home, but I refuse to settle for life as I know it, refuse to settle the way she did and the way her mother did before her. If my Asian identity must revolve around everybody else's palatability, then call me the worst Asian you'll ever meet.
mother brings me to school. My eyes droop with drowsiness as I haphazardly avoid the smooshed-like plastic bags on the floor. A bright yellow smiley face gazing back at me. Dirty, my mother says. Chinese people are so dirty. Look at all these bags here. This place wasn't riddled with garbage when everyone else was white. Look at it now. At least the food inside was yummy. Grade 2, my mother rides the subway with me to art class. You're lucky, she tells me, that I know better. All the other Chinese people play piano. We exit the train at Chinatown. I wanted to learn piano. Grade 3, my mother walks with me to a local writing tutor. She's Chinese though, it's the only connection we have. No Asian cares about writing, she tells me. Only math and science. You'll be like the white people. Do you see how they're the ones in writing? You rise above them and stand out for being Chinese. I enter the class. All my classmates are Chinese. I wish I was home, watching a spider-eat a bug trapped in a container or something. I ask her one day, why am I not allowed to take Mandarin classes, only allowed to speak the language to talk to you, but never to read what's on those Chinese menus or books? Why do we not celebrate Lunar New Year? Why do you talk so poorly of all my Chinese friends? Aren't we Asian? But only her steel-cutting gaze as her voice oozes with hatred. You want to blend into every other Chinese person? No one cares about a Chinese person learning Mandarin. No one cares about an Asian in STEM. And Lunar New Year is all fake anyway. What sort of celebrations are those? Just an excuse for money. Every Chinese person stays within their own group, she says. If you become white, you stand out and rise above them. Don't you want that? Do I want that? She asked me years ago, and she asks me even today. And now I stand here on the stage of an Asian cultural society. It's confusing, but it's not what you wanted, is it, Mother?
What is a face? A face is smooth like porcelain glass, unmarred, sculpted, and symmetrical. My mother works so hard on her face. Every night, no matter how tired she is, she always makes time for skincare. I watch her pull jade rollers across her skin, pulling her skin tight over her skull like a canvas over a wooden frame. I watch her smear minuscule dabs and expensive brightening serums and tinctures all over her face and pat, pat, pat away. Perhaps if she pats for long enough, she might pat away the hyperpigmentation and smile lines that haunt her so. She is so proud of her face. She says many people compliment on her face, that many people envy her for her face. I'll admit, her work has paid off to an extent. While out, her face glows and her smile shines so brightly. Too brightly. What is mean? Mean is face, but mean is your dignity. My mother always said she'd rather die than lose her face. That life without a face was pointless. But as one cannot run from old age forever, one cannot run from reality either. She cringes when she looks at me, so I stare at myself in a mirror every night and pull the same jade rollers across my skin. I pull the jade roller across my cheekbones and jawlines. My face is not smooth like porcelain glass. My face is marred with acne scars, and my eyes and lips are lopsided. Her voice cuts like glass when she tells me I am undignified, that I am too curious, too assertive, tai go fun, too much. So she spews empty words to whoever will listen about how she buys me all the things a girl could possibly want, despite the fact that none of it suits me. How she takes me to the nicest restaurants despite the fact she tells me not to eat so much while I'm out. and how I'm her blood, air, and water, despite the fact that ghosts neither need nor have any of those things. Words strung together and spoken to cut thick silence, words followed by shrill, hollow laughter. Perhaps that is why she comes home every night exhausted. Foundation smudged, revealing blotches of discolored skin she tries so desperately to hide. It's okay, keeping up appearances gets hard. Perhaps that is why she pulls her skin so tightly over her skull and pats away the wrinkles. The smile lines are reminders of her lies, and she smooths her face so that she can continue to smile.
热爱一百零5度的，你的青春的蒸馏水。
Just explain to me why we are here at Hunter College instead of our usual meeting place in Washington, D.C.?
Yes, Chinese Lamacchia. I am aware that the United States and China normally discuss our trade deals in D.C. But seeing as we could not come to a single agreement in our past 3 meetings, I thought a change of scenery and some helpful new technology would be beneficial.
So, is that what this is? Technology?
Only America's finest. Some students here at Hunter College built us an impact simulator to help the U.S. government better understand how trade deals between our 2 countries could best affect Asian American citizens. That way, we can ensure that any deal we make is beneficial to our people.
So you're telling me that any deal I put forward today has to be beneficial to your little simulated family?
Precisely. We negotiate a deal, I input that deal into this computer, which feeds into that simulation, and these 4 highly intelligent AI robots act out how a family could be impacted by that deal.
And you're doing this because you care about your citizens?
Well, we didn't used to care about them, but Asian Americans are the fastest growing voting bloc in the United States, so yeah, now we care about them.
Wait. Did you say these were robots, like super smart robots, like from Terminator? I don't know about this, Richards. What if they become really smart and attack us?
Calm down, they won't. They'll just depict a good old regular family. Look, I'll turn them on for you one by one.
Hello, I am Father. I immigrated to the United States in 2005 with my wife and oldest child. I am a cab driver.
Hello, I'm Mother. I'm Father's wife, and I'm a science teacher.
Hello, I am Child 1. I'm a senior at Hunter College High School, and I think Chris Evans is the sexiest man alive.
Hello, I am Child 2, and I think Chris Evans is ugly.
You're ugly.
Now, kids, don't fight.
Why are their names Mother, Father, Child 1, and Child 2?
Because their names don't matter. They're not individuals, they represent all Asian Americans.
Chris Evans?
They're randomized personality traits and circumstances. Not that I agree or anything.
So, they're a family, but can they really accurately predict how our laws and policies can impact your citizens?
To prove it to you, I'll input a past policy into the computer. I promise you, the robots will react the same way Asian American families did. You can pick the policy. Anything goes.
How about when President Trump called the coronavirus the Chinese virus or the Kung flu?
That's not a policy.
Put it in the computer, Richards. I don't have all day.
Fine. Whatever.
What 5-letter word has a T, an R, and an E in it? Oh, I'm just playing this cool new daily word finder game I found online. I don't think many people have heard of it yet, but I bet everyone's going to be playing it in a few years.
Oh, cool.
Why do you sound so sad, kid?
It's just that my best friend Brian said that we couldn't hang out anymore. His parents told him that if he keeps playing with me, he'll get sick with something called the Kung Flu. What is that?
We got the brochures.
Hey, Dad. Hey, idiot.
Why do you two sound so out of breath?
Because we were walking super quickly back from the grocery store. Mom didn't want anything to happen to us.
What do you mean?
With the president calling COVID-19 the Chinese virus, I'm terrified to just live our normal lives and get groceries. It doesn't feel safe for any Asian American. I mean, look at these headlines.
What is it? I want to see.
Are you sure, kid?
Yep, I'll take it.
Anti-Asian hate increased by 342% in 2021.
May 2020, Seattle. A couple walking down the street were spat on, shoved, and struck by a man who said, "It's all your fault."
January 2022. A woman was killed after being pushed into an oncoming train in Manhattan's Times Square subway station.
March 2020, in Albuquerque, an Asian noodle shop is defaced with words saying, "Watch out for the coronavirus."
March 2021, Manhattan. Katie Howe, 37, was returning from a protest against anti-Asian hate, where she was punched in the face twice.
March 2021, 8 people were murdered in Asian-run businesses in Atlanta. 6 of the victims were Asian women.
Well, it's accurate, all right.
Yes. Let's break for lunch.
I will tell you of a boy who wanted so much to prove he existed, he decided to envelop his hair in plastic that twisted. The perm meant pain, the perm burned and tore strands, but the perm meant I'd only hear my name when I raised my hand. The perm gave me confidence, I could perform with it. The perm was my style, they thought I was born with it. 2 years later, Korean waves became trendy, but I didn't forcibly contort my pristine hair for a trend. I did it because they wouldn't see me for me until I had it. And still, these inevitably fading curls couldn't protect me last year during class discussions about anti-Asian American violence, where it was like I was the only one talking, trying to prove that yes, Japanese internment was that bad, like our discrimination was being graded 0 to 100, and they'd only remember to have these conversations next year if we could prove it was bad enough. White people don't call you Ching Chong or make fun of your squinty eyes anymore, because we learned their cosmopolitan English, we learned their Brandy Melville. Now it's just China virus or Kung Flu screamed at me at 34th Street, and the only solution is me walking away instead of them being quiet? Because that's more convenient. And conveniently, you can pretend that racism doesn't exist. Because look, some Asians make bank for being doctors and engineers. The feds mistakenly arrested MIT scientist Gaang Chen for selling tech secrets to China, probably only because they saw his Asian name. Profiled away his position. Which is funny because the name on Gaang Chen's case just looks like a Starbucks misspelling of my name. Like, you're telling me that even if I went to MIT like my dad wanted to, I'd still be dragged out in shackles? You vilify Eileen Gu. She's a traitor and a sellout, but if you asked her, no, where are you really from? She'd have to say China, not America, right? This year, violence against Asian Americans is still up 342%. Where were the class discussions when an Asian woman was stabbed more times than people that come to ACS every Friday, when a Korean guy that looked like my dad was caught until he didn't look like my dad anymore? Y'all just blinked and looked away. America got selective vision. Celebration of our backgrounds remains a mission. We're only recognized in front of their weapons, and even that pain is only seen for a split second.
What do you want to be when you grow up? A mushroom-headed second grader on the floor of my school's career day? I tell them anesthesiologist, because it's the longest word for physician I know. And they laugh and smile and tell me that I'll make a great doctor someday. Doctor, not anesthesiologist. A junior at a college workshop, I say doctor now, and they say to the group, remember, you don't want to be just another Asian in STEM. What's actually special about you? What do you actually want to be when you grow up? Well, doctor, I say, and if you were to ask me why, I'll tell you that it's because I love science, true. That I want to make people smile, true. And that's all there is to it. False. Because what I don't say is a memory formed on the floor of a rented apartment, age 3. I'm playing clinician with my Minnie Mouse and my mom sees me and she says, good. If you're a doctor, they can't hurt you here. Not a researcher, she says, not any field in STEM, because Chen Xuesong was a physics genius. He was the head of a lab at Caltech, but they deported him for the color of his skin and the nation he was born in. And Zhixiao, don't you get it? Get to the top of your field and you're still worth nothing more than your pallor. Don't be every Asian out there and you're practically dispensable, Zhixiao, so please, become a doctor. They won't hurt someone who does nothing but fix bodies for them. So why, Mom? Am I still kicked and called slurs as I hand post-op patients cups of water and toothbrushes as I'm helping them eat? Why, Mom? As my hospital worker ID badge meant nothing. Why, Mom? Am I the virus as I'm helping them breathe? So run, she tells me, run, and get far, far away from here where you'll be safe. But Mom, I want to say, I do. Every night, 200 meters from our house is a turn down an obscure alley and a break into a dead sprint so that I am not the morning headline tomorrow. I know you worry, Mom, and so every night I clutch my keys a little tighter, and in my head I hear, once you're a doctor, everything will be okay. And I think, Mom, aren't you glad your daughter loves STEM?
get down to business. Trade between our two countries has been on a bit of a tightrope as of late. Many of your citizens don't trust China or Chinese Americans or any Asian Americans for that matter. We want to find a way to rebuild trust between our two hemispheres.
Us too, but the rising anti-Asian hate surrounding the coronavirus has heightened people's senses of competition between our two countries. There's a general sense, propagated by the mainstream media, that whatever China gains, America loses.
So what can we do that would feel like a win-win? A true equal exchange?
We could do something along the lines of...
Panda diplomacy.
What?
Panda diplomacy. We loan you a panda, you give us money, and families get to visit your zoos and feel like they're getting a real Chinese experience.
Yes, I know what panda diplomacy is. How will it help cultivate trust between our two countries?
Panda diplomacy has been a symbol of goodwill for decades.
Alright, deal. Let's say you loan us a panda. You want to see how it'll affect a real-life Asian American family?
No, not really.
Humor me.
Mom, Dad, look, it's a panda! Beautiful.
Honey,
Yeah?
what country is on the opposite side of the world from Iceland?
Alaska! What are you doing?
Playing Worldle.
Wordle?
No, Worldle. You have to guess what the country of the day is. Our current streak is
What's the
600.
panda's name? I want to call him Alaska.
Well, it says here that her name is Chihua. Apparently, China gets to name all of their pandas before they loan them out to us.
It's Laos.
What?
On the other side of Iceland, it's Laos.
I'm at a louse for words because that was the dumbest guess I've ever had.
You know, for your mom and my first date together, back when we still lived in China, we went to a conservatory and watched giant pandas.
That's so cool! Come on, let's take a family picture.
See, this trade is great for you guys. Now all the Asian American families can finally... What's happening?
I don't know, spazzing out.
What's happening?
I don't know. Aya, come on. If we don't leave the zoo right now, I'm going to be late for the Yuna concert. I've been waiting for her to tour America for ages.
Don't you want to see some of the new animals though? It's got a giant panda, straight from China.
Aya, I'm a Malaysian American teenager. Do you think I care about seeing some random Chinese panda more than getting ready to see the biggest Malaysian singer in the world perform in my hometown of New York?
Malaysian American? Was that a different family? Oh God, Richard! Do something about it, please!
Yeah, I'm trying.
Mom, can we see the giant panda?
Sweetie, pandas are China's way of showing other countries that they're allies, but we're weaker American. Here in New York, we're relatively fine, but over in China, the government has detained millions of us against our will. So let's go see another animal rather than fawn over a symbol of Chinese oppression.
Okay, Mom.
Wait, was that another different family? I thought your simulation just represented one average Asian American household.
Yes, it's supposed to, but it looks like their coding broke down. The computer's working overtime to simulate a singular family representative of all Asian Americans.
Because Asian Americans aren't monolithic, you idiot! Your whole country being is diverse and all that jazz. How could you forget? There isn't one singular representative family.
Fine, whatever. I'll get it to work. Come on!
Oh, we look so cute together. You know, I bet about 100 families have taken this exact same picture.
She's definitely the zoo's most popular animal.
By far.
Thank God, it's finally working again, Richards. You can't be scared.
Yes, but it looks like the coding is still entangled.
What do you mean?
Hey, Brian just sent me a text. He said his parents wanted to come to the zoo with me and see the panda.
Wait, but his parents told him the other day that you're more likely to have COVID-19 because you're Asian.
Well, now I can teach him about pandas. We'll be friends again.
But you don't know about pandas just because you're Asian. They keep making assumptions about you based on decisions made by diplomats and politicians a million miles away.
That's ridiculous. Brian's family is just Brian's family, and we're just us. We're not politicians.
politicians. True, but people told politicians make big global decisions all the time. Like it or not, those decisions will always affect us. We can't do anything about it.
Is it me or is that robot alarmingly self-aware?
We can only hope that politicians do the right thing with everyone's best interest in mind. But even that can be so hard when we're all so different.
So, what do we do if these people don't have our best interests in mind?
Richard?
Thank you all for coming!